Hello everyone, we are Function Force 6 and this is our app Trippy. Think back to your time at school and going on school trips. For me, this involved being a messenger between my parents and my school, exchanging envelopes with details of the trip and consent forms between my school and my home, which provided plenty of room for me to lose either of the letters, forget I had it, or forget to hand it to my teacher or parents. Fast forward to the current day and the process is relatively unchanged, and we felt that it should be modernised. We spent our first few days breaking down the process and spent our time trying to lock down our MVP. And these are what we decided are important to each person involved in the process. We wanted teachers to be able to create the trip and allow parents to consent to the child attending the trip without the exchanging of envelopes. We also wanted to give teachers the ability to perform head counts from their app rather than carrying scraps of paper, but rather than just reading what Trippy does, we'd love to show you.
Hi, I'm Dave, and for this demonstration I'm going to log in as the teacher and add a new trip. On this screen I can add all the details, where we're going, how much it costs, and a description of the trip. We use the date picker from React Native Paper to select a date, and then all these details are stored to the real-time database. On the inventory tab we can add and edit items that the students will need to bring along with them, and of course the teacher can come back at any time and amend any of these details, and that will be updated. It's from this middle tab that we can invite any students to the trip, and they'll be sent a login so they can get full access to the Trippy app.
Hi, my name is Simon. I'm going to talk you through the functionality that Trippy provides to parents and guardians. The role of parents generally is A, to keep their children safe, and B, to pay for everything. So it's important that they get all the information they need in a timely manner to make a decision about whether to let their child go on the trip. And that's what Trippy does. Upon logging in, parents can see a list of trips that the child has been invited on. For each trip, they can see the date, description, location, and cost of the trip. Trippy also shows them a checklist of items that the child will need on the trip, which can be ticked off as and when they have them. Trippy then presents the parent with a clear explanation of exactly what they're consenting to and records their decision with a timestamp. No more lost trip letters, no more dodgy signatures on consent forms.
Hi, my name is Harry and I'm going to present to you Trippy's student path. Upon logging in, one of the key features of Trippy is the ability for students to view a list of trips they've been invited to. This feature keeps students informed and engaged in the trip planning process. Once a student selects a particular trip, they gain access to comprehensive trip details. They can easily view essential information such as the trip's location, cost breakdown, consent deadline, and a brief description. Trippy also gives students an inventory checklist directly linked to each trip. This checklist is specified by the teacher in charge, ensuring students have a clear understanding of what's required for the trip. And upon accessing the inventory checklist, students can effortlessly tick off items they already possess. If functions similarly to a to-do list, allowing students to keep track of what they have and what they still need for the trip.
So logging back in as a teacher, I can show you one of the most exciting features about the app, which is the ability to drop a marker, which could be used as a meeting point, or there could be several markers where there could be recommended points of interest for the pupils. They can find that on their app. The teacher can move that around if they need to after.
During the trip, the student can look at the map and see the marker that the teacher put down. Even if they've strayed way off the beaten track, they can find their way back to the meeting point by clicking the locator icon. Another important feature for keeping children safe is the head count. Trippy has a head count feature which enables each student to display a unique QR code on their phone.
So when the teacher needs to do a head count to check they've got all their pupils back at the meeting point, they can scan each pupil's unique QR code to be checked off the list. Any pupils not scanned into the app in the head count remain on a missing students list. They can be checked off manually if needs be. They might have lost the phone or something like that. If they're still not accounted for after all of this, a search party can be organised.
Hello, my name is Matt, and I'm going to be talking to you about the tech stack that we used on Trippy. For starters, on the front end of our project, we use TypeScript, which turns JavaScript into a strongly typed language. This allows us to develop our application faster, to be able to see issues before our code was run, and handle errors in a more predictable manner. TypeScript's great for collaborative projects like this because it allows us to share functions between each other in a lot more predictable manner. For building our applications, we use Expo. Expo bundles all of our source codes and assets together and allows us to quickly prototype changes in real time and on an emulator. This was great for speeding up development as we weren't waiting around constantly for things to build. Expo also gave us to various cross-platform libraries to access things such as phone camera data, haptics access, and locational access. For creating our application interface, we use React Native. This allowed us to apply everything we have learned with creating React components for the web and use those for designing our app. The nature of component design was great for this project because it allows us to share components between each other to create a more cohesive design. Along with React Native, we use React Native Paper. This is a component library built on the material UI concepts, which as a group we quite like the design concept of. And Paper is the most popular implementation of this for React Native. For our backend, we use a Firebase real-time database. This is a cloud-based NoSQL database. The reason we went with this is because it was quite different from the SQL that we've had used in the past and had some experience with, and we did fancy the challenge of getting our heads around a completely new system. A couple of advantages of this using this database for mobile development is the fact that it keeps a local copy of itself on every device. So even if there's no internet connection or poor internet connection, the app still has access to the database. The real-time database also easily integrates with Firebase Auth, which we use to handle all of our user logins. This is really important for our application because when working with children, security is an absolute top priority. So handling over the authentication system to a platform like Firebase is a good move.
We experienced a number of challenges during the project. We had to adjust our plans to cope with scope creep and with things taking longer than we expected. We were also slowed down by some less than satisfactory documentation, I'm looking at you, Expo Docs, and by the inevitable merge conflicts that come from 6 people all working on a small app with very tight deadlines.
We've shown you lots of great features that the app already has. However, there are some features that we'd like to see in future versions of the app. One feature we feel would be really beneficial is a push notification information service, which would allow teachers and administrators to relay important information directly to pupils and guardians, as well as between the staff and administration. A payment solution would be an ideal addition to this app. It could offer parents or guardians an easy way to pay for trips, either in whole or even by instalments. We've already provided a nice and simple way for parents and guardians to give consent for their child to go on a trip. However, we do feel that a DocuSign integration would allow us to offer more comprehensive forms for waivers and permissions. One final feature we think parents would love to have in this app would be the ability to track and see their child's location in real time. This would allow them to see exactly where their child was at any stage of their journey and offer them the kind of peace of mind they can enjoy while their child is away from home.
That's everything we'd like to show you today. We had a lot of fun building Trippy and learned a lot along the way. We'd like to thank you for your time today and hope the next time you sign a consent form, you'll think of us.